Hey, how are you doing? So we got our next guy that we're going to interview. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kashon? Tell us where you come from, your name, and then some other interesting background information about you.
Okay, well, my name is Kashon Harrison. I am from Farmington, New Mexico. I go to University of Colorado Boulder, and yeah, I'm a sophomore in college now. But yeah,
Cool. And then where'd you run in high school?
I ran in Kirtland Central High School, which was in Kirtland, New Mexico. It was right around the Four Corners area.
And then I know you're Navajo, but do you just hail from the Navajo tribe?
Yeah, I'm actually full Navajo. I grew up in Arizona as well, but um I'm just trying to find little parts of, I guess if I'm like full Navajo or might be Apache or something like that, but I guess we'll see between my
Yeah.
mom and my parents.
Last thing, and then I'll ask you some questions. What about, do you know your clans or you don't know your clans?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah,
um
what's your clans?
well, crap.
It's okay. I if it makes you feel better, I did this to Jackson, and he's like, I forgot. And then an elder threw a shoe at him, and he's like, How could you forget? And he's like, I just forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I
Don't
think
harp on me.
my first clan is Tobahan Tachini Bashishti. My second clan, I think is what it is. Then the third one is Totaglini, and fourth one is Oze Tachini.
Okay, I'm impressed. Usually when I ask that, about half the people know, and I didn't prep you. I didn't ask if you knew before we did the interview. So I got a couple questions for you, and then I'll leave you alone. I'll let you enjoy your schoolwork.
Okay.
You were pretty darn good runner, really quick, but you were very grounded. I'd say you had really good foresight for a youngster. I think that's the biggest thing when young runners are coming about. Sometimes they forget where it can take them, but you had really good foresight. I had a good conversation with your dad several years ago, and I think I think maybe he did a really good job kind of educating and teaching you growing up. I'm not sure, but I mean, your parents did something right. I know that. So, as you were getting into the sport and you're getting better and better early in your high school years, even at the end of junior high, what was your driving factor that got you into the sport? Was it someone that in the running? Was it your parents that got you in the running? What made you first take up the sport?
Actually, I guess once I first started, like, running cross country, I was actually just trying to do it just to stay in shape. But, my dad was a runner in high school, and, he was like kind of like a coach during my school years, but I had another coach who, he, a middle school teacher who would just, help out, but he did like cross country, I think, back in his day or something like that. Other than that, I started in eighth grade, but worked my way up, and I guess my cousins were, I guess, like my inspiration to like going into running. Like I always look up to them, and they always believed in me and pushed me to where I'm at. And yeah, I just got to where I'm at, and right now getting like I actually turned like 20 like on September 9th. Um, you just like look upon yourself and push yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's getting
Um,
older.
your dad, it's been a while since I had that conversation with him, but he ran on the wings team too when he was growing up.
Oh yeah, yeah. He told me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good club. I had one person was like, "Yeah, I ran on the wings team back in 2006 with the director," and he like looked at me. I was like, "I'm an Okie native. I'm not the same type of native. I don't know what to tell you." He goes,
Yeah.
"You're Cherokee, aren't you?" I was like, "We'll Chickasaw too if that counts for anything." And he goes,
Mhm.
"It's okay. I'm just teasing you." So it's got a it's got a pretty good group of past great runners. And I remember your dad mentioning that. I was like, yeah, I ran on 2006 with the director. So
Yeah.
I don't know, there's a lot of good company on that team, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So for my next question, what was your biggest contribution to your success? Some examples would be, I mentioned this to one person. They go, my grandma used to make me wake up, made me run every morning. I hated it, but she made me wake up every morning. And then another person says, I had a dietitian in my family and they made me do this and this and this. What was, if you had to name a few things, what was the biggest thing that enabled you to be a good runner and to improve and grow these past 5 years? What would you say, was the contributing factors?
I mean, you can look all around you. I mean, like it's everywhere. Even it could be right in front of you, right beside you. It could be you because your biggest contribution is you in your coach. And that's what I like. I have had many different coaches like throughout high school, and as you know, like my coach's dad, which is Shane Cleveland, he was my coach for track, and he's been a great coach. And I guess he like made a big influence on me to run track, like like 55 or 2 mile, and maybe like 4:13 mile. Other than that, like the coaches are a big contribution, even my cross country high school coach and my dad and everyone who was alongside it.
Yeah, it's been pretty noticeable. You have a really, really great parents. I think that goes a long ways to having a great mom, dad, or, I think that's the biggest thing. I had that growing up. My parents were very um, self-sacrificial to help all their kids. It was pretty remarkable. And I have a saying with my guys. I go, yeah, all great runners are all mom's boys. And before I could keep talking, one of the guys said, "Holy crap, we are mama's boys." And I was just like, "You guys are just now figuring this out."
Wait,
It's been pretty well known that you guys are mama's boys. And then I finished talking. I go, "Guys, it's not a bad thing. I was a big mama's boy too." And I go, sometimes you have to have that mom and dad that make those sacrifices, that almost that nurturing to help you be better. And I go, most great athletes are, if you want to think about it. LeBron James was a big mama's boy. Lance Armstrong, minus the doping, but they were all big time, critical mama's boys that just had that nurturing to be better people and living by a good influence and role model.
mm-hmm.
So my next thing to ask you, coming from Kirtland area, it's a border town for all those people that aren't familiar with it. Basically with Farmington, it's right by Shiprock. Did you have any hurdles within that community, that area that you felt like were hard to overcome? What would you say those biggest hurdles are, not just for you, but for the entire Native community in your area? What do you think kind of prevents people to be the next Kashon? What do you think kind of gets in their way to prevent them to be the next Kashon in your area?
I mean, there's no hurdles or anything like back at home. You just have to push yourself. I mean, like everyone's like talented, and what I think of it is like, I'm very lucky. Like I'm from Kirtland and being a Division I runner and everything like that. But I wouldn't wake up and there's no hurdles and other thing like that. But other than that, like depends on what type of person you are, because everyone's not the same. Like everyone didn't go through the same thing as my life as what I did, or I guess the hurdles. But I never really had hurdles other than, just training and just putting myself into work and being mentally disciplined. And other than that, like for each every one of the like Native Americans, it's hard to learn, but you just have to be determined enough to do it. I mean, that's what I did each and every other day back in high school and middle school. And I guess like look where it has got me. I mean, as long as you believe in yourself and push yourself and everything like that, and you can be the best of who you are towards others too. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe in each and every other people who are not runners, but in each and every one like other sports, even for like school too. But other than that, like you just got to put the work in.
Yeah, I'd say you have good foresight. That's the biggest thing as a psychology guy. As I tell a lot of guys, I go, guys, sometimes it's not that you're trying to do on purpose. You don't have that frontal lobe of your brain developed, and they don't know what I'm talking about. But I go, guys, that's your foresight development. And they go, oh, so we're never going to have it. It's like, no, 24, 25 is usually when it fully develops. But that doesn't mean you can't still possess foresight. You have to do these certain practices. Jackson would say, I just envision myself in on the ward stand and I have my picture having my family there. So, there's ways to go about it, and I'd say you have really good foresight. What was when you would have a bad race or you'd be training, what was something that you look forward towards in the future, as an early, younger high schooler that kept you training? What was in the back of your mind that said, I had a bad day, but I'm still going to train really hard and I'm still going to keep going? What was that thought process that you had?
I guess it's just looking at the out of state races such as like Nike Southwest and Foot Locker Nationals or regionals, internationals. But other than that, like so I look forward to each and every other day because out of every runners around the country, like you could probably be up there, and
Yeah,
that's what I thought,
exciting.
and that's what
Um,
pushed me.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the big thing. Everyone wants to go to, I know Foot Locker for me in high school because, they pay for everything. Plane tickets, they give you gear, they treat you like a king or queen. So something about that was so nostalgic to want to be a part of it. So my last thing to ask you what's a quote you live by? Something that it's just something that you liked hearing growing up or something that you learned to accept recently as one of your main virtues, but what's a quote to live by?
Well, I guess back in high school, I would always look up to Steve Prefontaine and each and every other runners, like, have like a great quote and have a great saying. But right now, like, as I said, like, as you're getting old, like, you just push yourself. I mean, I don't really have a quote for myself to look forward to other than myself. I mean, because you can say whatever you have, like, what comes to your mind is basically your motivation. And the people who I look up to now are getting old, but I'm getting like old too, but to the age where they were running their best. And I guess, I'm always looking forward to like trying to motivate like people and motivate them to like, do other things and follow their paths and see what's ahead. And I mean, other than that, like right now, like I don't have any quotes to look up to other than like
Cool, cool.
the kids and the people.
Yeah, everyone has what works for them, and for you, it's I'd say it's more of an action, not a quote. Just using the sport as a platform, motivating your community. Yes, using the sport as a catalyst to motivate your community. Well,
Yeah.
keep it up. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got school and running, all the joys of a younger college student.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe we can do another interview in the next few weeks. And I really appreciate having you. And you got any other last minute thoughts before you sign off?
Um. Well, no, I don't think so.
Okay, okay. Well, maybe we can do an interview in the next month or two. And keep up the good work, brother. You take care.
Okay, sounds good. It's nice meeting you.